All right, we are recording, and I am going to go ahead and share my screen. And I just want to make sure, Barry or Tom, if you can see my screen okay?
Sure can.
Okay, all right. All right, guys, let's get rocking here. This is Frank. I'm with the National Real Estate Post, of course. I want to thank everybody for coming here today. We've got a really nice presentation, a nice webinar. We've got some great free giveaways at the end that you're going to get. Everything you see here today on this webinar, you will receive an email so you can implement it right away in your own market area. That's why we do this. To provide lots of value to you guys and for absolute, for the cost of absolutely nothing so that you can go out there and be more successful. And I have two very, very important, distinguished people on the call with me, of course. And we have Tom Hutchens with Angel Oak. He's going to be doing a presentation in this presentation. The part that Tom will be covering is when you get into a real estate office, you need to present something. He's going to give you the information to present. And of course, we have Barry Habib with MBS Highway, who's going to co-moderate with me throughout the whole presentation. Barry and I, of course, and Tom, we have been making a living, if you will, for quite a long time doing presentations and speaking in front of people. So we've got some good creds here, and we just want to show you guys, how great doing presentations can be, especially for the loan officers getting into real estate offices. So there are a lot of crumpling of paper there or something. We okay there? We good? Everybody cool? Ready, Barry? Ready, Tom?
I'm ready.
All set.
Ready to rock and roll.
All right, here we go. So, real estate sales meetings. And we're going to talk about how to get into these sales meetings and how to present at them. First, we're going to go over the things that we're going to cover today. One, it's going to be the benefits to doing these presentations at sales meetings. Two, we're going to talk about who to ask and how to ask to be able to present at these sales meetings. Then we're going to go over how to prepare to present at these sales meetings. Then we're going to get into, well, when we get this all secured, what are we going to talk about? That's where Tom's going to step in. And then after that, we're going to talk about how to maximize our results from speaking at these sales meetings. And just before we get into this, I just want to tell you guys that I've done a lot of speaking events, so has Barry and Tom, and I can tell you this, is whenever you speak in front of people, the results that you can get out of that are always phenomenal. At the end of anytime I've spoken at anything, at the end, you always get the line of people lining up to, get your card, give them your, or they give you their card or whatever, just to get more information or continue on with you. And I know that's Barry's experience and Tom's as well. So being able to do this is a really important thing for us to do and to practice on a continued basis as loan originators. And we'll get into the reasons why. So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, let's talk about the benefits to conducting sales meetings in real estate offices. And first and foremost, and I think all of us would agree with this, that when you're up front presenting to real estate agents, you're building up trust and you're solidifying relationships with these people. It provides you with an opportunity to actually meet people too. Face-to-face meetings, they're the best way to build up trust and strengthen relationships. Barry, your thoughts on this real quick before I move to the next slide.
I think you have to try to get in front of people. It's a great way to leverage your time. If you're able to get a little bit past the gatekeeper, which is always hard to do, but if the reason why you're able to present is because you have some valuable material that they could benefit from, as opposed to just a commercial or some of the things that they've been hearing from others, if you could really show them how they can close more sales, gain more listings, get more opportunities, and you keep it to a short, sweet presentation, they love that. And I've actually surveyed a lot of mortgage professionals as to why they don't do this, and they say, well, I'm not sure if the realtors are going to like what I have to say. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to put something together. So I think as we go along here, Frank, what's been contemplated here is a way to kind of almost do a turnkey way for individuals to want to put this in front of real estate agents and make it simple and foolproof.
Yep, you got it. So let's move on. Another benefit to conducting sales meetings, of course, obviously, is the engagement. What I mean by engagement is you're face-to-face in a room with your audience, And so you can actually engage with them a whole lot better than they can engage with you. And of course, you know, having imagery on your presentation, it holds their attention better. You know, you're going to want to have some nice bullet points, some clear text, so that people can follow along in a logical manner. But when you do this and you have a presentation put together that works well, that flows well, it's really easy to keep people engaged. And as they're engaged going through your presentation, guys, they're just building up more interest in what you're doing, and they're building up, they're gaining confidence in you and who you are, and they're building up, you know, more of that desire to consider actually working with you and doing some business with you. So engagement is another benefit conducting sales meetings. And of course, the third one here that I want to point out is you become the expert. And I used to, you know, I joke around about this all the time, you know, but I can't tell you how many times, you know, people come up and you know, especially when I'm out at an event or something like that, and they just really, they ask me so many things about the industry and about industry news and things like that. And the reason that they do that is because they perceive me to be the expert. That's because with my show, I'm essentially presenting every day to people. They perceive me to be the expert. That's just because I'm the guy doing the talking. And it's the same thing with these sales meetings. You're up in front of people, you're doing the talking, you are instantly perceived as being the expert. And who do people want to work with? They want to work
with the expert.
The expert.
What's interesting, it's interesting, Frank, is that as you do more speaking and as you gain the knowledge from it, you know, one of the ways that we learn best sometimes by teaching. So you actually become even more of an expert because you really have to be sharp on your subject material. So it kind of interesting how it just develops.
Yeah, it kind of forces you to do a little woodshed and make sure that you do have your act together and you do have your information down, so that you know, you can be resourceful and valuable to them when they ask you questions. So yeah, so you become the expert. Okay, so let's, you know, the benefits aside, I think all of us can totally get our head around the fact that, yeah, speaking in front of, you know, multiple people is going to be a very beneficial thing to my career, especially if I can do this on a fairly consistent basis. And before we go any further, Barry and Tom, what if you were an originator in the field today and you were going to start the speaking gig, right? You were going to try and get in front of real estate offices and do speaking engagements in front of real estate sales meetings. How often do you think someone should try and do this? What should be the goal? Should it be once every couple months, once a month, once a quarter? I mean, what would you just think?
Well, I'd like to just say that I wouldn't put a cap on it. You know, you just gave all the benefits, the expertise, and really building the trust. You know, I would say set a goal that you can attain, but the more the merrier, because that's going to just expand your business and expand your base of influence. So I would not look to cap that. I would look to make that as many as possible, and once every couple months does not sound like enough to me.
Okay,
well,
cool.
I guess it depends from my side of it. I mean, certainly you want to do as many as you can, but it depends on where you're doing them. If it's in one real estate office, probably once a quarter makes sense, but that doesn't preclude you from doing as many as possible. Tom said, you know, in different areas and different locations, you know, but I don't know if I'd go back with the same subject matter to the same office, you know, more than once a quarter. I try and switch up the subject matter as well.
We definitely agree with that.
Yeah, I would certainly switch it up. But like, for example, on this presentation, guys, we're going to go through a very cool presentation that you're going to be able to give that Angel Oak is going to provide you guys. But you could take this presentation and you could try and get into as many different real estate offices as you can with this one presentation. Then after you've kind of exhausted that presentation, you can grab another presentation and go through those offices again. And while we're on the subject of the presentations, today we're going to give you one from Angel Oak that's going to be real high value. It's going to be great for your realtor partners. They're going to dig it when they see it, and it's going to help you get more business. But just on a side note, at Barry and MBS Highway, you have multiple presentations, right? If they run out of presentations, you've got multiple presentations for them over there, right?
We do. We have a library of very many presentations that, you know, are typically 5 to 10 minutes long that we continue to refresh every quarter with something new and timely, so that there's always something to do, a lunch and learn seminar or a seminar for the office. Or, Frank, one of the things that you pointed out in the past that you really like doing is for the board of realtors in a marketplace, which could be very effective. So yes, all those things are really important, But in addition to that, what we do is we do something a little bit different with an MBS Highways. I actually record the presentation as if I'm doing it, so that you could see how I would do it. You could kind of watch me do it a few times, and then you go ahead and knock it out of the park yourself.
Excellent. And that's essentially what we're doing for you today, guys, is you're going to see Tom give the presentation as if he were in the real estate office giving the presentation. So this will be your blueprint for this particular presentation. And we are recording this, so you will be able to watch this as many times as you need to get that under your belt before you go out and make these presentations. So cool. Let's continue on. Who do we ask? How do we ask? Let's continue down the road here. Obviously, sales managers. Now, depending on the size of the real estate office that you're approaching, they may or may not have a sales manager. The larger offices absolutely tend to have sales managers. The small mom and pop shops that have maybe 5 or 10 agents, they might not have a sales manager. They may just be dealing with the broker owner at that point. So the who is going to be, first, let's start with our sales managers, right? And I just want to let you guys know, from my experience, and having just done this a couple of months ago, I went on a spree of presentations. One led to the other, which is what winds up happening when you do this. But from my experience is that if you do have a real estate office that does have sales managers who are, who do sales meetings for their agents on a consistent basis, the truth of the matter is content is king. So these guys are always looking for content. They're always looking for presenters because it just makes their job easier, and no one person can do everything. So as a sales manager, you're very much welcoming presenters to come in and make presentations. Now, when you contact them, they're probably going to ask, what are you going to talk about? And that's where this presentation comes in handy, because you'll actually have something to talk about where they'll say yes to you. So you would start with the sales managers, of course, broker owners. You'd want to talk to them about getting in and making presentations. Interesting one is top producers. Some of you may actually be working with real estate agents who are, notable producers. They're one of the better producers in a particular office, and if they're one of the better producers in a particular office that's of a good size, that does have sales managers, a lot of times you can get in through an existing relationship that you already have with a good producer. So if you're already working with somebody, you could say, hey, I've got this great presentation I'd like to give to your office. Can you get me in with your sales manager? Who do I got to talk to? And then you're coming in with a third-party endorsement. It's one of their best producers. They're going to get you in. And the last one that I want to bring up, guys, is I know we want to present in front of real estate offices. Of course we do. But one of the ways that you can get into them, and this just happened to me, is through Board of Realtor meetings. So when you're looking at making presentations, guys, and looking where to go to make these presentations, don't forget about the local Board of Realtors. So whatever your local board is, if you go to them, they too are always looking for presenters like crazy. I guarantee I could go to my local board right now and say, hey, I'd like to do a presentation. When's your next open slot? They go, oh, let me look. And because, again, it makes their job easier. And here's what's cool. If you present at a Board of Realtor meeting, right, Board of Realtors meeting, who's there? A bunch of real estate agents. And this is exactly what happened to me recently. I presented at the Board of Realtors, right? After I was done, I had like 5 real estate agents come up to me and say, can you present at my office? Can you present at my office? Can you present at my office? Kind of did all the work for me. So in the one presentation at the Board of Realtors, I wound up picking up other presentations at real estate offices without even having to go ask for them. They came to me. So,
Frank, one other thing.
Go ahead.
One other thing to piggyback on that is that at Board of Realtor meetings, they oftentimes have new real estate agent training, and the vast majority of mortgage professionals that I would speak to would say, oh yeah, I don't want to deal with newbies. But I think about that a little bit differently. I used to love to do that because 2 things would occur. When someone's a new realtor, they usually have one person that they almost got their real estate license so they can handle a transaction for somebody, or they've got a personal situation. So if you come in, they're going to be impressionable. And the other part about it is they don't have a relationship with anybody already. So you get to grab them right away. It could be a little bit more babysitting, a little bit more hand-holding, but it's kind of an investment into the future as well. So just think about that at your Board of Realtors meetings. You can kind of volunteer to help with some of that new real estate agent training. It won't take too much of your time, and I think it's more fruitful than people actually give it credit.
I would agree 100%, man. And this is what I always say. It's like every superstar was brand new at one time. Every superstar started somewhere. And so to get in with brand new agents, and what a great suggestion, too, by the way, Barry. The Board of Realtors doing new training for new agents, yay. Well, and I guarantee you they'd love to have you guys speak there. They would love it. And to get involved with them when they're brand new is beautiful because, like I said, not all of them are going to make it. They're not. But even the ones that don't make it, they're going to do their mom's deal, you know what I mean, or their brothers, or their, you know. But the ones who take off, you know, there's going to be a superstar or two in there. And to wind up being their preferred lender, I mean, why not, you know? So great suggestion, thanks. How to ask, okay? Preferably, it's face-to-face. You might think, well, how am I going to get face-to-face? You could certainly just go to the real estate offices, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'd absolutely recommend it. Walk directly into a real estate office, go to the gatekeeper, say, can I speak to the sales manager, please? There's nothing wrong with doing this. When the sales manager comes out, give them your pitch. Hey, I'd like to do a presentation at one of your sales meetings, right? But another great way to do this, guys, is at other meetings. And what I mean by that is not only the Board of Realtors meeting, but I'm sure in your area, like in ours, there's always a real estate involved networking meeting somewhere of some kind all the time, right? They're always doing this stuff. Go to those meetings. Make it a point to show up with your card and start talking to people. You will wind up meeting people of influence at these meetings who can possibly get you in to make a presentation. So, and now you're at the meeting with them. You're enjoying the meeting a little. You know, you've got your little weenie in a blanket on your styrofoam plate, your crappy Chardonnay and your plastic wine cup, you know what I mean? And you're chatting, but you're face-to-face. You're building up some rapport. You're exchanging cards. You're saying, yeah, let me follow up and try and get into a presentation. And they're saying, absolutely, give me a call.
So, Frank, a lot of times, and it's inevitable that it's going to happen, that we're going to make that pitch and we're going to get shot down. You know, the sales, well, we don't really like people to present. You know, well, we don't really know you, but we've tried that before because they're accustomed to people coming in and doing presentations that are more like a commercial or the same old stuff or something that's boring. So I suggest, like anything else, do a little homework first. You know your market. What are some of the pain points? Is a pain point that there's a lot of cash buyers in that market, and how do you get your offer to the top if it needs a mortgage contingency? Well, maybe that's something that's a pain point. Is it because people are having a tough time with lack of inventory and over asking price? What's your solution for that? Is it because you need, as we're going to be talking about here, a way to get transactions approved that don't fit into the box? And those buyers, how do we get them in? So do a little research in your market. Come prepared, because invariably, when you do get that no from many of them, you could say, but listen, here's the thing. It's not a commercial. And get your time down. Is it 5-minute presentation? Is it 15-minute presentation? Whatever it is. It's just 5 minutes. And what we're going to try to do is help you make more sales in this particular circumstance. Have you ever had this? Are your realtors having this problem? Well, here's a solution. We're going to teach you how to do it and make it very easy for you. And then what I'd also be prepared to do is get your tap dance shoes on and do this and say, look, since it's only a few minutes long, let me give you a little snippet of it, see if I can interest you. And right there on the spot, I used to just start going into my presentation, get their interest, and then you have them sit back and say, well, you know, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's only 5 minutes long. All right, you know, that's all you need. That's all you want. So be prepared to actually have it be showtime for you, or give it a snippet of it. Know the pain points, paint the pain for them. Let them relate to why you're coming in there. You're not coming in there to do a commercial. You're not coming in there to do the same old crap. You're coming in there to fix a problem that they're currently feeling pain points on right now, that their realtors are complaining, that they're going to that manager with, that they're losing transactions over. Get that research done. Do the recon, and maybe you know some realtors. I'm sure you're not going to do a presentation in a real estate agency that you've never even walked in the door before. So you probably have some experience. You probably know some of the people. You probably have had some good transactions go through. You probably have some advocates there. Lean on that. Use that stuff. Work that to make your way through. And yeah, like Frank was saying, do top-down strategy. Start with as high up the ladder as you can to plead your case so that you get the okay. Go to the people who are going to make the decision to say yes.
Right. And so, again, Face-to-face, though, that's what we're talking about. Face-to-face is probably the easiest way to get this done, and just because they're right in front of you, and they're getting to know you, and it just makes it a whole lot easier. The next most effective thing would probably be phone calls, making some phone calls, trying to introduce yourself, trying to give them your pitch on why you'd like to do a little presentation in their office, which may lead to actually maybe I could meet with you first somewhere, grab a cup of coffee, I can show you my little stick, my presentation, which would be a very, very good thing to do. But the phone call, probably a fairly effective way of getting in front of the right people. And last time we did this, Barry was very adamant about emails. What's your thoughts on email, Barry?
don't try and do this by email.
No, emails suck. These guys are getting blasted with emails all day long, every day, by people just wanting to get into their business who don't have any personal touch whatsoever. Email's not effective. Think of yourselves. You get blasted all the time with emails, and most of that stuff you just blow right out. But if you have an account executive, if you're a broker, let's say, and you have an account executive come into your office on a regular basis and talk to you, that's the guy you're probably going to wind up doing business. Face-to-face, is best. Phone call, bare minimum. Let's not try this with emails. How about what to say? And you could do your own scripts, guys, and I just put this together. But if you're in front of them, or, of course, if you're face-to-face, you'll do this a little bit differently. If you're on the phone, we have just a simple little script here. Who you are, what company you're with, and just say, hey, I'd like to get to one of your office upcoming sales meetings to present a niche loan product that'll help your agents close more deals if they're made aware of it. I mean, is that something that we could talk about, or is that something that might work out for you? Do you have any openings coming up? And just, very simple script, but just breaking the ice, letting them know you've got something. And the most important thing in this script, I think, and Barry and Tom, I'd love you to chime in, is basically you want to let them know you've got something that's going to help them close more deals. I mean, would you say that's the focal point of this?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Or resolve a pain point.
Resolve the pain point. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right, well, let's say you get the gig. And let's say somebody says, okay, you got it. It's in 3 weeks. It's on a Thursday. It's 9 o'clock. You got 15 minutes. Be there, and we'll talk to you then. Okay, great. Now you've got the gig. So now what you want to do is make sure you can prepare for it well. So these are just some tips that I've gathered here. As you're getting closer to the actual show or the presentation, make sure you send a confirmation email prior to the meeting, and you probably want to ask about any audio-video equipment if there's the need, if they have it. You may want to actually go do a site inspection, is what I call it. Actually get to the office, pop in there, meet with the person who said that you could do the presentation, and have them show you where you'll be doing it. Say, okay, where am I going to be? And then you can get the lay of the land. You can see what they've got, if they have any audio-video equipment, or if they've got nothing. You might not even need it, depending on the size of the office. But you're just preparing yourself mentally and visually for what you're going to be walking into. I know that whenever we do speaking engagements and presentations around the country, one of the first things I do when I arrive is I go right to where I'm going to be speaking, so I can just get the lay of the land. Okay, here's the room, here's the equipment, here's what we're dealing with, just so I kind of know what I'm dealing with. You're going to want to do this too. I think you're going to find that some offices, they've got stuff. Again, I'll lean back on my recent experience. I did a Board of Realtors meeting, led me to 3 real estate office presentations. One of them I did up in Sacramento at a Keller Williams. I went to that office beforehand, got the lay of the land, and I saw, okay, they got the big screen TV, they've got the laptop already. I just provide a flash drive, I plug it in. They actually used lapel mics is what they did, because there was a pretty big space, and I'm ready to go. They had the little mouse clicker already. I didn't need to bring anything. And on the other hand, I've certainly got into presentation situations where they didn't really have anything. It was my laptop. I had to bring my own adapter. I use a Mac. If you're a Mac user, they typically don't have adapters. You're going to want to bring an adapter to get it plugged into the projector. They typically don't have, in this scenario, they don't have the clicker so that you can click through your presentation. So you're just going to want to send that confirmation email and just ask about the audiovisual equipment, or even better, do a site survey. Get out there, take a peek, look around, understand what you got going. So when you show up, you're prepared. You're not,
And show up an hour early and test everything. Make sure everything's going. You don't want everybody sitting there and you can't get the projector working, or you can't get your computer communicating with it. Having had experience where a lot of things can go wrong, time can be your friend. If you're there early, you can resolve a lot of those issues, and then go and give a successful presentation. And the last thing you want to have when you're presenting is having these issues on your mind. It's going to distract you. It's not going to make for a fluid presentation. It's really nice when you're able to speak and you're confident and you're comfortable, and it just flows much smoother, team.
It sure does, and it does, like you said, it doesn't waste time. And I can tell you, I've definitely had it happen where I've gotten there not early enough and things didn't work, and I've literally had to say, imagine what this would look like if this was working. You know, that's not a good presentation. So get there early. Also great. Gather all your materials needed. Make sure you got your PowerPoint, of course, any other materials such as possibly handouts, your business cards. Make sure you've got your stuff together. Handouts. Oftentimes, what I like to do is provide the presentation as the handout. So print it all the pages, branded to you. And one thing that we want to make sure you do is retain all of that until you're done with your presentation. After your presentation, you can hand that out. You'd agree with that, right, Barry? I remember last time.
Bingo, yeah. I suggest that you don't do any of that. You don't want them fumbling or looking ahead. You want them engaged with you and looking at you and focused on the presentation. As Frank said, afterwards you can hand them, if you'd like, you can hand them a copy of the presentation, but do not do a handout in advance.
And I'd say it's maybe worth underlining business cards. Never show up to a presentation without a stack of business cards in your pocket.
Yeah, have them in your pocket, maybe even staple them to the presentations that you get to hand out. And with this in mind, too, you're going to kind of want to know what the turnouts usually are to these sales meetings. I'm sure if you speak to the sales manager or the broker owner who got you in, just ask them, how many people do you normally have at these things? They might tell you, dude, we have 25, easy, 30. Then you know what you're dealing with. So make sure you have enough to hand out. Okay, obviously you want to practice. You want to practice your presentation. You want to practice a lot. I mean, the smoother you can blow through a presentation, the better it's going to be. And I got to tell you, you know, we got Barry Habib on the call. Barry is, in my opinion, the best presenter I have ever seen. Barry, when he goes through a presentation, it's like he already knows what the next slide is long before he's getting there. He's got the perfect verbal segue from one slide to the next, and he just glides through his presentations. And at the end, everybody just sits there kind of dumbfounded, jaw dropped, going, that was awesome. And so, but Barry, I mean, do you practice your presentations?
Frank, thank you very much for the kind words, first of all. And, you know, a professional boxer practices 1,000 minutes for every minute that they're in the ring. Think about that. Or trains 1,000 minutes for every minute they're in the ring. And I take it very, very seriously. Even though I present for a long time, I always make changes, I always update it, and there's constant practice. Want to get the timing down, want to get the transition down, want to get the emphasis down. So I really suggest that you take this really seriously, because it is a career-changing opportunity. So please understand, when I say that, I'm not, you know, it's not like a sales, it'll change your career. No, literally, this is career-changing. If you are able to speak in front of groups comfortably and leverage that, you exponentially grow your business, you exponentially grow the magnetism and the attraction that people have to want to work with you. It is absolutely incredible opportunity. So treat it as such. You need to treat it with the respect it deserves, and practice, 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 practice. Not just the content, but the timing, the delivery, the smoothness. Make it so that when you're up there, you're having fun. You don't have to worry about what I'm saying. You're having fun with them. You're engaged with them. You know, think about even some personal stories that are funny stories. We all have some funny stories, some embarrassing stories. Talk about that, okay? People like that. They like to know that you're human. They like to know that you're fun. You know, you see Frank all the time, and Frank and Brian, you know, they engage people because they're fun. Everybody loves them because, you know, they talk about personal stuff. They talk about things that have occurred to them, and they kind of make you feel, even though you're watching them over the internet, like you know them, like you're a friend. Well, get that engagement with the audience. You know, it's really important that people start rooting for you right away. People, we all do this. When we buy something, I'm such a student of sales. When we buy stuff, we mentally make the decision if we're going to go with that person or purchase it, usually very, very quickly. And then we justify it to ourselves later on why we needed to do that. You know, well, I needed it anyway, or it was on sale, or this and that, or I don't want to shop anymore, or blah, 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 or seem like a good guy. But if they don't feel that attraction to you in the first few minutes, then it's very difficult to win them over. So some personal stuff. Don't make it so it's mechanical on the presentation. Make the presentation fun, and where you're not efforting it. That you know it like the back of your hand and it's smooth.
Definitely. And what's funny too is in my presentations we've done the same presentation many times over and over and over again throughout our career. And you tend to, over a few times of doing it, you tend to find little jokes that you can throw in certain spots with just the right timing in between slides or whatever the case may be. And it's so funny that for you, it's the same old stupid little joke at the same old time, but every time you present it, it gets the same, great laugh out of everybody because it's the first time they've seen it, but you're just so good at delivering it and the timing, you know what I mean? It works every time. So thank you. Okay, so here's another interesting thing too, guys. Review the meeting attendees if possible. I forget where I picked this point up, but it's such a great point. And that is, if you're going into real estate offices, chances are that the presentation that you're going to be giving might be in front of 20, 30 people. As little as 10, as little as 5, maybe as many as 40 or 50. But on average, probably about 20 people, something like that in your typical real estate office, 25 people. Take the time to go to the website, their roster, get to know the agents a little bit. It gives you the opportunity to kind of put a face to a name before you even get there. I know we're not, not everybody's great at remembering names, and faces, but if you spend a little bit of time just kind of looking into the people that are going to be there and getting to know a little bit about them, something may pop out or stand out that you can retain, you can remember. So if you actually wind up having a face-to-face conversation with one of those people, you already got maybe a little bit of insight to them. It just puts you in a little bit better position as a presenter to, I don't know, impress them, make them feel like, oh, this guy gives a crap, about us. Even took the time to figure out that I like, wine tasting or whatever the case may be. So just do that. Just know who your audience is. It's just a wise thing to do. And then here we also said have a giveaway prepared. It could be just the presentation that you give away, but there may be something else that you put together or something else that you're able to give away, that's got you branded onto it, something like that. But giveaways are great. Give them away at the end. Don't give them away at the beginning. And have that because it's memorable. It's something you can hang on to, something you can refer back to. Giveaways are always a good thing. So with that, let's talk about this particular presentation. When we give a presentation like Barry said and Tom, you really want to give them a presentation, it can't be just the plain vanilla, commercial. We're this mortgage company, we've got the best customer service, we have great rates, it has to be something unique and cool and different that these agents kind of go, huh, yeah, I might have a borrower that might fit that, or now that I know about this, I'll be more thoughtful about asking different questions when I'm talking to borrowers because I may be able to get a different deal or a new deal because I know about this product or this program or whatever the case may be. So when it comes to what to present, Tom at Angel Oak, I'm going to hand over the presentation or the webinar to him. He's going to show you a presentation that he's prepared, and he's going to give the presentation as if he's you in the real estate office giving the presentation. And of course, you're going to get this presentation at the end of this webinar. We're going to email it to you. So you're going to kind of see how it gets done, and you're going to get it in your hands so that you can start implementing this speaking strategy right away. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and let's see here. I'm going to hand the ball to you, Tom.
All righty.
And here we go, Tom. And make presenter. And OK. And you should get a little button, and there you go. I see the screen.
All right. How's that look?
It looks good. It says a realtor's untapped market, non-QM.
Non-QM. Okay. Well, thanks, Frank and Barry. I think that's a great setup. We talked a lot about content. That you need to have something compelling to talk about when you're going into these sales managers and broker owners and trying to get presentations in front of large groups, and we obviously all know the value of that. So I wanted to just tell you this presentation that we're going to go through, you're going to see Angel Oak all around it, but those that are in attendance, we're going to send you this presentation in PowerPoint format, and it will have nothing about Angel Oak on it. And anything that I show you, you can modify for your specific market. So anything that you want to add to it, take away, make some modifications, it's yours. And this is a real simple, it's about 15 slides, but it's something for you to get in front of people and talk to realtors about something new, something that they haven't probably heard other loan officers talk to them about, and that to me is pretty exciting. It makes the content part of your request to make a presentation kind of taken care of. So look for that after this presentation, and I'll just kind of jump right into it. We kind of start with a nice introduction, then the outline. The outline, just picking up on a few things here, is that you want to present yourself as that one-stop shop. We talked earlier about being an expert, and this is really about being the expert on this. So one-stop shop, we're going to talk more about that. Then I think just defining what portfolio lending means. Realtors and really a lot of people throughout the real estate industry, they have different mindsets of what portfolio lending means, and so we're going to show you some ways to talk through that. And then really what's in it for them. That's the most important part. What is in it for them, and how are these portfolio loans going to help them? And then finally you can send them off when the presentation is over, hopefully enthused by what you've talked about, and you can point them in the right direction so that they can go capture these new loans, these new borrowers. So I think good way to start, one-stop shop. We've got a picture of a fairway here, beautiful green grass. It's kind of appropriate for this time of year, but we talk about, as a loan officer, the majority of your business is right down the middle of the fairway. It's the Fannie Mae, Freddie, government, FHA, VA loans, but the reason you're the one-stop shop is that you are coming to the table with some portfolio products, some non-traditional programs that can help all of us capture more business. And again, 80-20, use whatever percentage you want to use. Some people, their portfolio products are more than that, some are less. I would tell you our experience, most of our customers, the portfolio type programs, non-QM, call it what you will, is anywhere from 10 to 20%. So I think it's important in my mind to let them know that you do everything. You're not coming just for this one special program. You do everything, but maybe this special program or these special products is what gets you in the door, and it's probably one of the things that you use to leverage to get in front of this group of 25 realtors. So right down the fairway. Then I think defining what portfolio products mean. We're almost 10 years out from the crisis, but I think it's important, regardless of people's background, just to kind of educate people. And again, this is you're presenting yourself as the expert. You have expertise in lending and mortgages. So on a high level, this is a chance for you to educate realtors who have heard snippets. Maybe they read about the crisis and some of the causes, but here's just a few pieces of information that I think you can use effectively to talk about 2006 versus now. And this is really the portfolio products. This isn't the Fannie Mae loans. This isn't government lending. This is portfolio type non-QM products. But again, presenting yourself as the expert on it will make the difference. So here you've got a couple examples. Back in 2006, the average FICO score for portfolio programs was under 600, is about 580. Today, 2017, those same programs are 680. So we're not talking about the same borrowers at all, and I think that's important for people to know. Again, down payment, another big issue that people may be aware of. Pre-crisis, most loans, many loans, far too many obviously, were zero money down. But today, down payments are required, anywhere from 10 to 20%. And right now, Angel Oak average loan to value is under 75. So that's people making down payments, and there's lots of those buyers and borrowers out there. Another significant difference between 06 and now is proof of income. Everyone has heard of the stated income, the no income type programs. Those are no longer allowed. Those have to be, every borrower on an owner-occupied property, QM, non-QM, doesn't matter, has to have a documented ability to repay. So again, another significant difference. And then oversight and regulation. I think a lot of people have heard a lot about that, and they've maybe heard about the CFPB and the different regulators, but here just pre-crisis, very limited oversight, and those on the call are very aware of that more than likely. But then today, there's tighter regulations, and then obviously the ability to repay requirement, as we talked about. So again, you're painting the picture, painting yourself as the expert, giving them information at a high level. Now, why does that matter to them? So this is another one. You're painting that picture. If you as a realtor can close 3 more loans, sell 3 more houses this year, that can turn into a commission of $54,000 this year. And I think you could drive the audience. Most people are going to be interested in making an extra $54,000 this year. So again, change the number. We used an average sales price of $600,000. Maybe it's higher in your market, maybe it's lower, but these are real numbers that you can bring down to your audience so that they understand the ability, or excuse me, the benefit of paying attention to what you're having to show them, or what you're talking to them about that day. You talked about having a giveaway, and giveaways are great, but I think most people would rather have the giveaway be more commissions. So lean on that. Now, the next few slides, and I won't spend a ton of time on them, but it's really just some examples, some real life loan examples, buyer examples, because I think it's really important to keep your audience thinking about his or her business. And so examples like this, that's how they're able to take this and say, I know this person. This happened to me 6 months ago. This happened to me 3 years ago. That's the thing. These loans are evolving pretty rapidly, but 3-4 years ago they didn't exist at all, and since the crisis. So painting this picture and helping them realize that they know these people. These are their neighbors. These are in their networks, and letting them see that, hey, by using you as the expert in these portfolio programs, they can actually expand their client base by bringing this to the table. So here's an example. We have a self-employed borrower who makes $200,000 a year with a high credit score. And again, real examples. But that self-employed borrower writes off 75% of their income. So they only show on their tax returns $50,000 in annual income. So that kind of income, they're going to have a hard time qualifying for a loan. But you, as a portfolio expert, you have a bank statement program, and a bank statement program is not based off of tax returns. It's based off of cash flow of these self-employed borrowers. And because of that, you were able to capture and close this borrower's loan and give him a $750,000 loan. So buyer got the keys, seller got their proceeds, and everyone went happy. You could also add the realtor got their commission. That's kind of an important part too. More scenarios. Credit issues. Client was forced to push the closing date back due to an IRS not clearing a tax lien. So their credit score, because of this tax lien that had not cleared, went from 684 to 614. And as everybody knows on this call, anything below 620 gets a lot more challenging to get those borrowers to the closing table. But portfolio products, they don't have that 620 cutoff. And just kind of another tidbit of information, 1/3 of Americans have a credit score below 620. So there's 1/3 of the market that is automatically outside of agency availability of loans. So this is a big market, not a small market. So again, another scenario, because you as that expert portfolio lender, you were able to get them to the closing table. Another scenario, closed on a $1.3 million home. They were turned down because they had had a foreclosure 2 years ago. You think about the large number of foreclosures. A lot of people, almost everybody can say they know somebody who had some financial difficulties, and a lot of those people ended up in foreclosure, even if it wasn't their primary residence. Say it was an investment property that they were upside down on. All that matters. All that counts, as you know, when they go to get a new loan. So we have portfolio programs that require as little as 1 day seasoning on foreclosures. So those are loans that you can get into the process and get closed. And Frank, I'm going kind of fast on these because I know we're getting a little low on time. So tell me to slow down or speed up or whatever you think.
No, I think you're good. Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Okay. Another scenario: borrower who was self-employed sold their business, and that's good. They put a lot of money in the bank. However, started a new business, maybe took some time off. Then they want to go move and buy a new house, but they find out traditional guidelines require 2 years of self-employment. Well, you now, as a portfolio program lender, you have an asset qualifier program. So that borrower that has significant assets, and I say significant, can teach you all about that, but significant assets in their possession, you can get them qualified if they have situations like less than 2 years self-employed. Those are loans, those are real loans, those are people that realtors know. And I think Barry mentioned earlier the lack of supply in the marketplace. It's as much people not willing to sell because they don't believe they would be able to qualify for their next loan. So this is an opportunity for a realtor to see kind of beyond just, oh, this buyer. Well, these are people that could be sellers as well, and I'm a listing agent. So now I've got some ways, if I get them to work with this loan officer, we can open up some more doors and close a lot more transaction, both as a buyer's agent and a listing agent. Investors, lots of investors out there today. Fannie Mae government requirements are really strict on the amount of properties they can own and also how the borrowers can qualify. But now, as a portfolio lender, you have a product that an investor can qualify based on the cash flow of the property, not the borrower's cash flow. So not looking at the borrower's tax returns, looking at the investment property they're purchasing and what kind of expected cash flow will that property have. That is what is used to qualify. So again, real life deals, you're trying to bring it to light, open up their minds, think about their network and their contacts. So here's some examples. Because you, as a portfolio lending expert, you can work with these types of borrowers: self-employed borrowers with significant write-offs, credit score, credit challenges, recent credit events, credit scores below the conventional requirements, recent credit events, foreclosures, bankruptcies we mentioned, buyers with significant assets, and then the investor-specific programs. So kind of wrapping it up here, then telling them where can they go find these portfolio borrowers. Obviously, the reason you painted that picture is that you want them to revisit any recent turndowns. So if they've lost a self-employed borrower's sale in the last 6 months, a year, have them get back in touch and put you in touch with that borrower and see if now with your portfolio products, if you can actually get that buyer to the closing table. But builders and developers, they're always looking to expand that box, and realtors going in saying they have some outlets now to expand that box for them. That helps. Accountants, CPAs, we talked about the self-employed borrowers that have lots of write-offs. Well, those accountants are the ones that are very aware of the write-offs they're doing for their clients, which they're following the IRS tax law. So these accountants are aware of those that have good cash flow, good credit, but they want to buy a house and they're finding that difficult. Same with financial planners, and then obviously some bankruptcy attorneys are going to be aware of those that have been through bankruptcies. Then here are some facts I was starting to kind of allude to earlier, but foreclosures. Some people were saying, well, the foreclosure business is going away, but last year there were almost 1 million foreclosure filings. And since the crisis, there have been over 18 million. So there are lots of people out there who have been affected and continue to be affected by foreclosures and these credit events. Self-employed borrowers, there are 15 million self-employed borrowers in the United States. And based on this new gig economy, that number is growing all the time. So 15 million is a big number for us all to tap into. Then 2 years, that's how many years of tax returns you need to qualify for a traditional loan. I mentioned the credit scores earlier, 33%, a third of Americans are under 620, but 50% of Americans are under 680. So 680 is another pretty significant cutoff, especially when you start talking about jumbo loans. So you're talking about a big pool of potential buyers that have been locked out of the market post-crisis. So then a nice little visual. These are the clients that they can start calling on to get homes. Then you wrap it up. And again, we're going to clean this up, take Angel Oak off of it for you, but this is something that I think you can take with confidence to your realtor base and open up some new doors and get those presentations going.
So Tom, you were mentioning before, and maybe you could show us how to do this, is that first of all, it's a great presentation. It'll certainly open the eyes of real estate agents and make them think more about who they might be able to put into some properties. And probably some of the originators that are on the call right now are going, God, that's a good product, that's a good program. But also there's the whole thing about, well, you know, what if I get in and I do a presentation, I'm not 100% sure of everything, and I get asked some technical questions that I really can't answer. You were mentioning that your account executives will go ahead and go in and do these presentations with them. So if that's the case, how do they find out who their account executive is at Angel?
Well, yeah, that's a great point, Frank. We actually do that all the time. So even if you are not the expert in the portfolio programs, bring on an Angel Oak account executive to these meetings and presentations with you, and we can be your expert. But you go to our website right here, angeloakms.com, and click Contact Us, and it says right there, Find an AE, and you click on the little map, and right here you just hover over whatever state you're in, and all the people that can help you in Texas are listed right here with their pictures, phone numbers, emails, and anything that you need to contact them. And we highly encourage it. Again, you talked earlier about the importance of being an expert. You don't have to be the expert in these products. Angel Oak is the expert. Our account executives are absolutely the experts, because this is all they do all day, every day. So please call us in and let us help you, and find us right here on this map, and we'll be at your beck and call.
Awesome, Tom. Thank you very much. Barry, any thoughts real quick before I wrap this?
I really like the presentation. It's short, sweet, kind of covers a lot of the pain points that realtors are experiencing right now, really helps them close more transactions in a way that your competition can't do.
Yeah, it's awesome. So let's go on. Let's say we get in, we've done our presentation, maybe we've brought our Angel Oak account exec. After that occurs, I tell you what, guys, it happens every time, is they're going to crowd around you, right? People are going to come up to you. They're going to start asking questions. They're going to be handing you business cards, asking for yours. You're going to be able to give your presentation handouts, or whatever your handout might have been. And you're going to start having these great engagement scenarios where you're engaging with multiple people, and it's going to work great. You're going to feel like you're a hero. You're on cloud nine. You're going to walk out of there thinking it's great, but let's make sure we maximize what we've just done here. Don't screw this up. And this is where I've seen, as a branch manager for many years over loan originators who I've taught how to do this, who I've gone in presentations with, right, this is where the ball gets dropped, and that's after it's done. And this is kind of the most critical time, because this is where you can really reap the benefits of everything that you've done. So what you're going to want to do is, guys, is when you get done, make sure, first of all, that you gather everybody's business card that was there, so you have their contact information. Make sure you get it into your CRM or whatever it is that you use to follow up on people, right? But then let's follow up, follow up, follow up. And when I say follow up, guys, you can certainly send an email. But I'm telling you what, if you just pick up the phone, call everybody who was there, and see if you can get together with them again, right? And thanks for being at the presentation. I was just hoping maybe I could come and see you at the office and just chat with you a little more, maybe grab a cup of coffee just to get to know you a little bit better, and just see if there's any way we can start doing some business together. Maybe on one of the programs I talked about at the presentation, or maybe anything else that you've got going on right now. And I think that you'll be really surprised to find out how many people will be very open to meeting with you again. And we all know this is a face-to-face business, and if you can start meeting with these guys face-to-face, getting to know them a little bit better, and follow up with them on a consistent basis, check in with them on a consistent basis, not just via email or text, phone call, face-to-face meeting, you will definitely start to reap the benefits of this. Because even with this presentation on its own, think of the opportunity. Tom brought up a great point. Where do we find this business, right? He brought up the point of, hey, how about CPAs and those guys? Maybe you meet a new agent at your presentation. That new agent agrees to have coffee with you. You have coffee, and then you say, hey, well, let's try and get into one of these CPAs and see if we can get some of these self-employed guys and put them into some of these products. You want to do it together? And then just start working together with a couple of these agents on trying to do specific strategic campaigns. That's going to lead to business. Even if you don't get anything out of a CPA, that you worked with, which you probably will. If you don't, this real estate agent's going to start to know you, like you, trust you, and when they get another deal that comes in, they're probably going to send it to you now. So it just really opens the doors to build new relationships, good, solid, strong relationships. So with that, we can go ahead and field some questions. But before I do that, Barry, Tom, you have any final input before we go and field some questions?
I'm good.
Yeah, no, I
okay.
think I'm good.
All right, good. I'm getting everybody wants a copy. Everybody's saying thank you. Yes, you're going to get a copy of everything, guys. Okay, so here's a good question. This is a good question. This is Kimmy Ortega. What are suggestions to overcome the objection for offices that have an MSA with a mortgage company that is not your company? I've had that objection before because they felt it violates the MSA agreement by allowing another mortgage company to come in and present. Any thoughts on that, Barry?
Well, it's a little bit of a difficult question to answer with respect to how that MSA structure. It's a little more involved than just trying to piece it together here, in my opinion.
Hey, Frank, I'd like to throw something out. Is that that would be an angle. Obviously, not knowing the ins and outs of that agreement. However, you could position it as, well, I just want to talk to you about the loans that you're not able to capture. What are you doing with those today? That gets your foot in the door.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, that I would suggest is this. Just keep in mind, let's say because of the MSA, you're out. Let's just say you're out. There's nothing you can do to overcome it. They're like, no. Well, you still have a presentation to give, and you can still give that presentation individually to someone over coffee on your laptop, right?
Lunch and learn presentations are great.
Lunch and learn, right? So you could let everybody know, hey, I'm going to be catering a little lunch over here at Chevy's. It's going to be at noon. I'm going to do a little lunch and learn. If you're interested in coming to see how you can get more borrowers into homes, with products that are designed for unique borrowers that you may be losing that business right now, come and join me. You can do it that way. So I would say take the presentation in that case outside of the office and do your own lunch and learn somewhere else. That was a great question, by the way. Okay, everybody is just saying thanks, and they want a copy of the stuff. You're going to get it. There's so many questions here now, but a lot of it is just thanks, and we want the presentation. Okay, so here's the thing, guys. We're going to go ahead and sign off. We've kept you a while anyway, and we don't want to keep you much longer. Here's the good news. Yes, you're going to get everything at the end. Yes, we recorded this presentation. Yes, you're going to get the Angel Oak presentation that you can put your own branding on. Yes, you're also going to get a special gift. Barry, do you have a special gift for these guys?
Well, yeah, I think you have a link up or something like that, Frank, that we're going to send out for a special extended free subscription to MBS Highway for a period of time. I don't know if you have that on the
We'll have it in the
page.
But yeah, we don't have it on this page. We'll have it in the email that they get.
Okay,
so,
awesome. So, look, right now especially, helping to articulate the opportunity in real estate and go along with these great presentations. You have access to so many that we have within our library. as I mentioned before. So just along the lines with doing more presentations, explaining what's going on in real estate. We've got something now, Frank, that you really like, which is the real estate report card, which is available now in English and Spanish. It's a pretty amazing tool.
It is. It's amazing. So you're going to get that extended free trial period, and I recommend everybody do it. If you're not already a member of MBS Highway, you got to do it. And of course, we're going to want you to interact with Angel Oak. Here's the good news. They're going to be following up with you guys. So not only are you going to get the email, you're going to get the presentation, but your Angel Oak account executives are going to be following up with you guys, answer any questions that you may have. We want to get you signed up with Angel Oak, of course, and because there's more benefit to getting signed up as soon as you can. So with that, Tom, Barry, can't thank you enough. And we'll go ahead.
Thank you, guys.
Good
Thanks, everyone, for listening.
Yep. Thanks.
Alrighty.
Thanks for tuning in.
All right, sounds
Bye,
good.
everyone.
I'm going to go ahead and close this baby down. We'll catch you guys later.